Black played. Bishop takes e to pause the video to spot white's next move. Black might go for Bishop g4, King e4, on f5 check, and dominate the board. King takes e2 was chosen by white. King d7, on f5, King c7, King f3, King b6, King g4, King b5, King takes h4, King takes b4, on g4, King c4, on g5, on takes g5 check, King g4, King d5, on f6. White intends to play on f7, King takes d4, on promotes to Queen at f8 and dominate the board. King d6 played by black. King takes g5, King e6, King g6. White's idea is to play on f7, on c5, on takes c5 and establish a winning position. King d5 was chosen by black. On f7, King takes d4, on promotes to Queen at f8. White is looking to play Queen d6 check, King c3, Queen takes c6 check, and gain a significant edge. King d5 black is struggling to keep up. Let's go to the next game. Black made a move. On a5 pause the video to figure out white's next move. On g5, on h5, on takes f6 check, King takes f6, on b3, King g6, King e5. White is aiming to play King takes e6 and secure a stronghold in the game. King f7 was chosen by black. On f5, White is setting up to play on f6, King e8, King takes e6 and take decisive advantage. On takes f5 move preferred by black. King takes f5, King e7, King g6, King d6, King takes h5, King e5, King g4, King d4, on h5, King c3, on h6, King takes b3, on h7, King takes a4, on promotes to Queen at h8. White considers playing Queen b2, on b5, Queen takes b5 check, and sees the initiative. King b3 White is dominating the board. Let's go to the next game. Black played King e6 pause the video to analyze White's next move. On a4, White is aiming to play pawn takes b5 and secure a stronghold in the game. Pawn b4 was chosen by black. Black wants to play pawn takes c3 and establish a winning position. Pawn takes b4 was chosen by white. Pawn takes b4. On a5, King d6. On a6, White is preparing to play on a7, King d7. On promotes to Queen at 8 and gain a significant edge. King c7 played by black. King takes e5, King b6, King f6, King a7, King takes g6, King takes a6, King f5, King b7, on g6. White wants to play on g7, King c6, King e6 and sees the initiative. King c6 was chosen by black. King e6, King c5, King e5. White is preparing to play on g7, King c6. On promotes to Queen at g8 and secure a stronghold in the game. King c6 played by black. On g7, King d7, King d5, King e7. On promotes to Queen at g8. White might go for King c6, King f6, Queen b8, King f7. Queen takes b4 and establish a winning position. King f6. Black is struggling to keep up. Let's go to the next game. Black made a move. King e5. Pause the video and try to find white's next move. King c2. On the 5. King b3. White intends to play. King c4. King d6. On a 4 and gain a significant edge. On b5 was chosen by black. On a4. On takes a4 check. King takes a4. King d6. King takes a5. King d5. On b4. King c6. King a6. King c7. On b5. King d6. On b6. King c5. King a5. White is setting up to play. On b7. King d6. King a6 and take decisive advantage. King d6 played by black. King b5. King d7. King a6. King c6. On b7. King d7. On promotes to queen at b8. White might go for King b7. King e6. Queen d8. King e5. Queen c7 check and secure a strong hold in the game. King e7. White is dominating the board. Let's go to the next game. Black played. On takes c4 check. Pause the video to spot white's next move. On takes c4 check. King e5. On a3. King f6. King e4. White is looking to play. King d5. On a5. On a4. King e7. On h3. King f6. King d6 and put immense pressure on the opponent. On a5 move preferred by black. King d5. White is setting up to play. King takes c5 and increase their advantage significantly. King e7 played by black. On a4. White might go for King takes c5 and gain a significant edge. King f6 move preferred by black. On h3. White is planning to play. King d6. King g6. King takes c5 and dominate the board. King g6 was chosen by black. King takes c5. On h5. King b5. On takes g4. On takes g4. King f6. On c5. King e5. On c6. White is planning to play. On c7. King d4. On promotes to queen at c8 and secure a strong hold in the game. King d6 move preferred by black. King b6. King d5. On c7. King c4. On promotes to queen at c8 check. King b3. White is clearly ahead. Let's go to the next game. White played. On c6. Pause the video and try to find black's next move. King d5. On e4 check. King d4. On e5. White is aiming to play. On e6. King c3. On e7. King takes b4. On promotes to queen at e8 and sees the initiative. King takes e5 played by black. King e3. King d5. King d3. King takes c6. King e4. King d6. King d4. On c6. King e4. On c5. On takes c5 check. King takes c5. King f5. On b4. Black is setting up to play. King d6. King takes g5. King e6. King f4. On b3. On g5. On b2. King e3. On promotes to queen at b1 and take decisive advantage. King takes g5 move preferred by white. On b3. Black is setting up to play. King d6. King h6. On b2. On g5. King e7. On g6. King f6, and establish a winning position. King h6 played by white. King d5. Black wants to play. King e6. King g6. On b2. King h5. King e5, and put immense pressure on the opponent. On g5 played by white. On b2. Black is aiming to play. Pawn promotes to queen at b1, and put immense pressure on the opponent. On g6 played by white. King e6. Black intends to play. Pawn promotes to queen at b1, and secure a strong hold in the game. On g7 move preferred by white. White wants to play. Pawn promotes to queen at g8 check, and dominate the board. King f7 move preferred by black. Pawn promotes to queen at g8 check. King takes g8. King g5. Black is in a commanding position. Let's go to the next game. White played. King e4. Pause the video and try to find black's next move. King takes b3. King d5. White's idea is to play. King takes c5, and dominate the board. King b4 played by black. King d6. On c4. Black considers playing. Pawn takes d3, and sees the initiative. Pawn takes c4 played by white. King takes c4. King e5. King b3. King f4. King takes a4. King takes g3. King b5. King g4. On a4. King f5. On a3. King e5. King c5. King e4. King d6. Black is looking to play. King e6. King f4. On a2. King g5. Pawn promotes to queen at a1, and gain a significant edge. King f5 move preferred by white. King d5. Black might go for. On a2. King f4. Pawn promotes to queen at a1, and increase their advantage significantly. King f4 move preferred by white. King e6. King e4. King f6. Black intends to play. King g5. King d4. On a2. King d3. King f4, and secure a strong hold in the game. King e3 played by white. King f5. Black's idea is to play. King g4. King d4. On a2. King d5. King g3, and seize the initiative. King f3 played by white. On a2. On g4 check. King e5. On g5. Pawn promotes to queen at a1. On g6 white is on the verge of defeat. Let's go to the next game. White played. On f6. Pause the video and try to predict black's next move. White is preparing to play. On f7. King d5. Pawn promotes to queen at f8, and put immense pressure on the opponent. King takes f6 played by black. King e2. King e6. King d2. King d6. King c3. King c5. King d3. King d5. King c3. King e4. King d2. King d4. Black is aiming to play. On a4. King c2. King c4. King b2. King d3. King b1. King c3, and gain a significant edge. King c2 played by white. King c4. Black's idea is to play. On a4. King b2. King d3. King b1. King c3, and establish a winning position. King b2 move preferred by white. King d3. Black is setting up to play. On a4. King c1. King c3. King d1. King b3. King c1. King takes a 3, and gain a significant edge. King b3 was chosen by white. King d2. Black wants to play. King d3. King b2. On a4. King b1. King c3. King c1. King b3. King b1. King takes a 3, and put immense pressure on the opponent. On a4 was chosen by white. White is setting up to play, pawn takes b5, and increase their advantage significantly. On b4 played by black. King c4. King e3. King b5. King d4. King c6. On b3. Black is setting up to play. King c4. King d6. On b2. King e5. King b3, and gain a significant edge. King d7 move preferred by white. On b2. King c8. King c3. King d7. King b4. King c6. On promotes to queen at b1. Black is aiming to play. Queen d3. King b6. King takes a 4, and take decisive advantage. King d5. White is outplayed. Let's go to the next game. White just played. King f4. Pause the video and try to find black's next move. King d5. Black might go for king takes d4 and seize the King e3 was chosen by white. On f6. King f4. King takes d4. King f5. King d3. King g6. On f5. King takes h6. On f4. King g7. On f3. On h6. On f2. On h7. King c2. On promotes to queen at h8. On promotes to queen at f1. Black wants to play. Queen g2 check. King f7. Queen b7 check. King e6. Queen takes b2, and take decisive advantage. Queen e8 played by white. King takes b2. Queen takes a 4. Queen g2 check. King f7. Queen d5 check. King f8. On c3. Black is planning to play. Queen c5 check. King g7. On c2. Queen b4 check. Queen takes b4, and gain a significant edge. Queen f4 was chosen by white. Queen c5 check. King e8. On c2. Black is aiming to play. On promotes to queen at c1. Queen takes c1 check. Queen takes c1, and seize the initiative. Queen d2 played by white. Queen c8 check. King e7. Queen c3. Queen takes c3 check. King takes c3. On a4. King b4. On the 5. King takes a 5. King e6. Black is dominating the board. Let's go to the next game. Black just played. On b6. Pause the video to find out white's response. On d5 check. King d6. King d4. King c7. King e5. On takes d5. On takes d5. King d7. King f6. White wants to play. King e5. King e7. On d6 check, and dominate the board. On b5 move preferred by black. Black is aiming to play. On b4. King takes g6. On b3. King takes h5. On b2. King g4. King d6 and seize the initiative. On takes b5 move preferred by white. On a4. On b6. On a3. Black is preparing to play. On a2. King takes g6. On promotes to queen at a1 and secure a stronghold in the game. On b7 was chosen by white. White is setting up to play. On promotes to queen at b8. On g5. Queen b7 check. King d8. King e6. On takes h4. Queen b8 mate and take decisive advantage. King c7 played by black. On d6 check. King takes b7. On d7. On a2. On promotes to queen at d8. On promotes to queen at a1 check. King takes g6. Queen b1 check. On f5. King c6. Queen c8 check. King d5. Queen e6 check. King d4. King g7. Queen b7 check. King h6. Queen h1. On f6. Queen takes h4. Queen d6 check. King c3. On f7. Queen d4. Queen takes d4 check. King takes d4. King g5. On h4. King takes h4. King e4. Black is struggling to keep up. Let's go to the next game.